Well, Marie-France, welcome to the skating lesson. This is your first time on the show. I fell in love with you at Worlds, obviously. So tell us about, getting ready for this season. I was seeing a lot of your programs yesterday. You told me you started choreographing back in May. So where are you? How is the stress level? Talk me through this.
Oh, stress level and fatigue right now is pretty high. I think September is always the time where we have judges coming in and we have federations popping in from, we teach couples from 8 different countries. So now there's a rotation of officials and federations that are coming in to look at our work, look what we did in the summer, and approve or disapprove or give their opinions. So it's always a little bit of a stressful time, but also choreography season is getting to an end. So slowly the stress level is coming down regarding programs. Now stress level is going to start coming up for competitions, but that's more the kids than the coaches.
At what point during the choreographic process, because I'm a writer and I know that there's at one point where you feel like, can I do this? What am I going to say? I'm blocking. What am I doing? And then it feels like you're birthing a child. So I guess talk me through what you go through every year. How do you find all of the ideas for 15 teams?
Well, actually, I never stop listening to music. So I have a very special file in my computer, or I start playlists, and I even started now for next year, but it's an ongoing process. I cannot only do this in May because then I wouldn't be able to do so many. So it's just an ongoing process, and I put music to the side thinking of this person or this person, because I really feel that music has energy and color just like people. So to me, it becomes obvious what type of music would fit better the Japanese, or what type of music would fit better the French. So that's how it happens. And then in May, when it's time to really pick, I ask the kids also what they would like to do, because it's important that they develop also as artists and not only as skaters and athletes. So they give me their preference and what they think they want to express this season, in the current season. So there's a discussion at first. They send me choices, but I have choices for them prepared before, and then it becomes a collaboration.
So you said that music has color like people. What color are you, Marie-France?
I'm a mix. I think I'm a mix.
Okay.
But I'm in the tones of red.
So I think I'm in the tones of red, Marie-France. Do you agree?
Yes.
Well, one of the things, where did you find the music circles? Because for the last 2 days, this song has been in my head. I had to find it on Shazam when it was in the rink yesterday. I think I've heard it 1,000,000 times. How did you find that? Because I almost thought of that for Guillaume when I first heard it, that would... But it works for Olivia very well.
It works for Olivia and Adria, and frankly, they're the one who came to me with this song selection. I've chosen, we knew we wanted to do something a little bit more modern. They started skating together back in January, I believe, and so I did this program already in February or March. It seems so far right now, but I did it early before Worlds, and it was their song selection, so we used it, and I think it's a perfect vehicle for them. And then it came out just before Rio Olympics that they used this for, what was it? Something like we would like to thank the moms, the girls on the Olympics. They actually use that music too.
Okay.
To show like the struggles of athletes, and I'm not sure, maybe it's a Johnson & Johnson commercial, but they use that music too for Olympics. So I think it's the right music for sports.
Well, speaking of the Olympics, you have Olympic champions that gave you a call last year wanting to come back. So I guess, when did you first get the call from them? And I know that this is ice dance, so no one ever says anything directly. We have to play a little bit of games. We have to pretend like we're just testing the waters. So how did they contact you, and talk me through that process?
Oh my gosh. Actually, the first time they asked us if we would coach them was in 2014.
Before the Olympics?
Right after.
Oh, right after, okay.
Okay, listen.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, right after the Olympics, they knew they didn't want to be in Detroit anymore. So they were looking for a place to train and get their show programs going because they had a very short time between Olympics and tour. So they came to Montreal. We helped them get their show program organized, and that was the first time they said, if we would ever want to come back, would you coach us? Would you, they said we wouldn't want anybody else at the boards with us than you guys. So it was already a promise we made them in 2014, way before Gabby and Guillaume started training in Montreal. Sure enough, they took their 2 years off, and Gabby and Guillaume came here, became world champion. But we made a promise in 2014 and we kept it.
So this interview isn't going to go up until after all of your teams have competed.
Okay.
So tell me about their programs and your inspiration, because I want to know what's going on in your head. What color are Tessa and Scott? Is Scott a red and Tessa a purple? What's happening here? They're two very interesting people that are a little bit Canadian and guarded. They don't let all of their cards out. They're mysteriously in Ontario when I'm here, so...
Well, actually, because we did 10 weeks of massive work with Scott and Tessa, they came back from a 2-year without doing any, technique or competitive elements or stuff like that. So summer was 10 weeks of hard work. We really went to work and off ice, on ice. So I think after camp, they needed a couple of days off.
So what are their programs like? You said you wanted to get deeper with them.
Yeah, so short dance is Prince. It's a little medley to Prince that we did, so it's very purple.
Okay.
It has a really good feeling. I'm super happy we decided to do hip hop to Kiss. And then Patrice found this really, really cool blues by Prince, but it's not a really well-known piece, but it's great. It just suits the pattern dance perfectly and PST. And then the last piece is the guitar solo of Purple Rain, and it's just like the solo with just vocals that goes woo, and it's beautiful to do the lift and the last, rock and roll hit pose. So I think for them it's going to be a good vehicle, and to start a competition and start a comeback with a program like this, it was important to have a solid short dance to start the competition.
And for the other program, are you?
So for the free dance, I was looking at different things because Scott and Tessa don't want to come back to just keep doing what they did in the past. So they wanted to experiment with a little bit of contemporary and moving differently and doing interpretation that's a lot deeper and more meaningful in the body, in the movements, in the energy between them. So we chose a theme that has to do with second chances, with drama that happens between a couple. They go together through a dramatic part of their life, and then there's a lot of push-pull. Somebody falls, the other one is there to catch. And then in the middle, it's just the connecting back to the love and the essential of life. And then the last piece is really about embracing second chances. That, if there's love and hope, there's always a second chance in life.
Now, you told me yesterday that you're thinking 18 months down the line with them. So are we thinking chemistry for that Olympic program with them? What are we?
I'm still testing energies because through the same vehicle, you can have a minute of a certain energy and then a minute of another one. I'm testing stuff with them to see what they react to best, what they can abandon themselves more to. It's, we're still testing a lot of textures. So I'm not, I'm starting to be clear on what we want for Olympics, but I might still change my mind.
Well, speaking of energies, my favorite energy programs yesterday were from Maddie and Zach. I thought they had spectacular programs, and a lot of people have messaged me saying hip hop, they're doing hip hop, that's such a risk. And I said, but you have to see her sell it. This girl is selling this program. So talk about taking that risk. When is it appropriate to do hip hop, and what made you decide to? I mean, you have Baby Got Back in there, there's Push It, there's all sorts of, so they really went for it. So just talk.
So Maddie and Zach, I thought it was a fun project because the struggle this year was to find typical blues that was right in the rules, because I assume what's a pure typical blues, but to make this fit with hip hop, it doesn't have that same texture at all. So I started to think, how can we make this happen? And then I had this idea of doing the evolution of blues. So this music started with blues, and then it went to James Brown with a little bit of funk, and then it goes to the evolution of hip hop and R&B and all that type of music through many years. So that's what we did. And in hip hop competitions, that's a little bit what they do too. They do a mix of like 10 songs, and they dance different type of hip hops on these different songs. So I think we're very accurate with what's current in the hip-hop world competitions, the hip-hop competitions.
Well, last year everyone loved their Hallelujah. I said that I thought they should have won the short dance at Nationals and placed higher overall. That was my opinion. Talk about their free dance, because I think that's a program that a lot of people are really going to love. It was getting great feedback in the clips that I posted. So, yeah, I guess talk about that.
Okay, so people loved Hallelujah last year, and how I found Hallelujah for them last year. I did a whole playlist, like I said before. That's always my process. And then when Hallelujah came on, she just started glowing and came alive, and like her upper body was super, I'm not sure how to say that, but in tune with the music and the sounds, and I was like, whoa, it's not the same girl that, I played different type of waltz, but this one really connected with her body. So I tried to follow a little bit the same process this year for their free dance. Because that's the Maddie I love, when she gets so into her music that it's like time disappears, and she was able to do this with Hallelujah. So we found this very beautiful piece, and it was always one of her favorites. She has an emotional attachment to it. It's Can't Help Falling in Love, but it's a remake, it's a cover. And so we started with this piece, and it took me days and hours and hours and hours and days to find how to make this one piece work. But we decided to make sort of our own little musical. So there's one piece that is also a cover. It's how's it called again?
You said I want to dance with somebody.
Oh my gosh, I forgot.
You said I want to dance with somebody?
I want to dance with somebody who loves me, yes. So a cover of that, but there's only this phrase, and then it goes into I Can't Help Falling in Love with You. And then this response to the last piece, which is Girl, You're Perfect, and you earned it, and whatever. So it's very few words in each part, but it has an emotional connection from one to the other. And so far it has the effect that I was looking for.
Well, speaking of upper bodies, Olivia Smart has a fantastic carriage on the ice. How did you find her? Everyone loved the old Spanish team that you coached. This one I think people are going to enjoy as well. I guess talk a little bit about Olivia and Adria.
Well, when Sarah and Adria split, I mean, we were all sad, but it was just a partnership that could not keep going. I wasn't sure at all we would find another girl for Adri, because he's not a very tall man, and it was late in this season. But when Olivia showed up, we were all stunned. We actually were very stunned on how quick their bodies started to match. Both of these skaters actually had British background in their technique. So as soon as they started to skate together, it just clicked. Olivia is a little bit younger than Adria, but their relationship is very much like big brother, and she's a little fireball. I really love her. She has sassiness to her, and she's very fearless, and she trains hard. So it's really been a joy to coach her, and I love that. I love the energy of both of them together.
So what technique do you have? Because you trained in France for a long time. So is your technique more French? Is it more Canadian? What is the secret of Marie-France? Yeah.
I've done a hybrid, I think. I was fortunate enough to be coached by fabulous coaches. I mean, I have a little bit of British technique because my first coach had some British technique. And then, of course, we trained in France and now back in America and with Romain here. So I think I was just we were able as a team to take the best out of a lot of technique that we learned and loved. Like we felt we glided better with that type of technique before that. Okay, let's keep this. And, so I think we've probably made our own technique by now.
Well, I watched your technique yesterday, and they said the two keys, you have to use the natural curve, and you like to move out those edges, and you also like to talk about using the abs a lot. So can you demonstrate how we are supposed to engage our abs when we are skating? Because I have great shots of you, and then you yelled at one girl to use her abs before the program. So will you show me that I want to sit in a way that I am engaging my abs like Marie-France would want me to?
Yeah, every day I drive home and I use my abs on the way in traffic.
Wait, talk about how fabulous you look in this car, because I almost wish that I was filming you in your white convertible, driving up with your sunglasses on.
I don't have a convertible.
It's not a convertible.
No.
Well, it's a white car. You look very nice in it. Is there a sunroof?
It's a
so there's sunroof. Yeah, okay. So you're driving.
And it has the best sound system, so I do a lot of music in my car with the sunroof open. And
so talk about how we're supposed to sit with our abs, Marie-France.
Sit with the abs, honestly?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you have carriage.
Okay.
Spine very long, neck elongated.
Okay.
And then you have to just press your belly button into your spine and just be really square. And tight, and then you can do breathing and tighten up your abs as you breathe.
All day?
All day.
Now, do you...
long, and you protect your lower back.
Now, are you exercising those abs besides skating all day? Because you look like you could still go out there and perform. So,
I wish I had time. That's why, I wake up in the morning, I grab my little baby girl, I do squats with her while she wakes up. We have our little dance off every morning, and then in the car I work my abs, and I find ways with normal life to insert a little bit of exercise because I'm on the ice 10 hours a day, so I don't have time for a gym right now.
I guess, how do you have knowledge of all these different types of dance? Did you study, or is this from your ice dance career doing all those compulsory dances? Because you have to have so many ideas, so many different styles of music. So do you study that, or is that from the training?
I think I was born with that.
Okay.
My mom always said that I was dancing even before I was walking, so for me, I find music and sounds outside. Like my body is always in dancing motion. So, but I did do a lot of different type of dancing, and I'm always interested in watching and learning and doing even dance seminars on internet or stuff like that. I try to keep current and keep learning with dancing, but dancing is my life and love, and I will dance until I die.
Well, I think it's interesting is that you coached the last two world champions, in ice dance, the last two world titles. There are a lot of people thought that you might have deserved to have two titles. You had to deal with second place. How much does that motivate you to go for the gold now when you go so close as an athlete? It's kind of like Brian Orser as a coach. You have that extra little push, right?
Similar, I don't know. But what I know now is that I needed to have those success and disappointments and experience to be the coach that I am today. I don't think I would be the coach that I am today with all the ups and downs and experiences I had in my professional career and amateur career.
How do you prepare students for an Olympic moment when your most known Olympic moment had to do with a fabulous performance that ended with a spectacular fall that you didn't see coming? How do you prepare people for life for that, you know?
Well, you know, the one thing that it taught me is don't take anything for granted. Mm-hmm. You know, anything can and will happen. Mm-hmm. And then don't also just stay in that sport for this one moment. Mm-hmm. What's important, it's not that moment, it's the whole journey. Mm-hmm. What did you learn? Were you present every day? Did you give as much as you wanted every day? No regrets. Okay, this day was over, next. Like the day-to-day is much more important, because if you just aim for this and you don't enjoy and grow in your way there, if there's an accident, something happens, a fall, you know.
What happened on that accident?
I wish I knew.
Okay.
I still don't know. I know I needed that to make me a better competitor, a better coach, a better person in life. Mm-hmm. But why? We were the best trained we've ever been. Lifts, it was one of our strengths was lifts. My hand slipped that time. Was it because I had hand motion? Was it because Patrice gave it a little bit more torque than usual because we had a really good performance? I don't know. Mm-hmm. I call it destiny.
Yeah, so it was not Patch's fault, yeah?
No.
Oh, yeah.
No, and frankly, this really renewed my... what this fall did to me, to my life, to Patch and I, like our commitment to each other and to not just skating, but our life and how we did things became double. Mm-hmm. after that fall. Mm-hmm. And we realized that there was much more to life than one competition.
Yeah. You talk about life, and 4 years ago, Tessa and Scott were not very happy with their coaching situation. They didn't think everything was equal, the energy behind each person. You now are in that same situation as a coach with that pressure of keeping them happy and keeping another talented team happy. How do you do that?
I just keep them happy. No, but it's been great. Mm-hmm. It's been a really, really good summer, and we're creating excellence in our center because we're not hiding anything. Mm-hmm. And we make things available for all our skaters, and we're very fair and true to each one of them. Mm-hmm. I can only give a skater as much as they give them their own self. Mm-hmm. So if one couple is 100% committed, I'm there 100%. Mm-hmm. And I'm passionate about all of them and all their little projects and everything. And Gabby, Guillaume, Tessa and Scott, they're champions. Mm-hmm. And they know that if they win, it's 99% because of them.
We'll talk about Gabby Guillaume. You talked about 18 months with Tessa and Scott. You seem to be slowly pushing Gabby and Guillaume to embrace their Frenchness, to be a little bit more avant-garde. So I guess talk about that in their programs this season and where your kind of creative genius is going that way.
Well, Gabby and Guillaume also wanted to try something that would surprise people. Mm-hmm. And they're the ones who wanted to go with the avant-garde. I think I made with them the avant-garde more approachable, because avant-garde can also be a little bit cold. Mm-hmm. Because it's a little chaotic, mm-hmm. But the music they found I thought was very interesting, and I was ready to play the card that they were willing to play. It's the year before Olympics. I think it's our last year to try something a little bit different and see which program worked the best with the audience, with the judges and then to make the best choice possible for Olympics. But they're only 20 years old. They're so young. I mean, we have to keep pushing and trying different things with them. And there are a couple, I mean, they're not only skaters, they're really artistic and they like to spend a lot of time finding the right interpretation and the right energy and concept. So it's going to be an interesting free dance for them.
Are you worried about going too avant-garde like the Duchesnays did in '91 when they had to scrap their program, when they had that infamous French avant-garde program?
Yeah, it could happen. I mean, you know, I'm not saying it's every time I make a choice, I know it might hit, it might miss, but their skating is so fabulous. It's not the music. With them, it's not the music you're really attached to. It's what they do and how they interpret the music and how they use their body to highlight that music. So the music just becomes the frame. They're the painting, they're the art, they're the art piece. So I'm not so worried about music.
Yeah. Well, to end with a couple fun questions, you talked about them being very artistic. Well, Guillaume likes to model. Do you see his modeling photos and do you laugh or blush or ask him about them?
I don't get involved into my skater's private life. I like to keep it quite professional.
Yeah.
I think, you know, but yes, he has a great body and did all the
and we see it.
shots and he's young and he has a very athletic body. So, you know, I think he should embrace that.
Yeah.
While he can. Yeah, why not?
So yesterday I was trying to ask you French pronunciation. The Canadians say Duchesne. Is it Duchesne, I guess? How do we pronounce your name? So give us a little French lesson. Yeah.
Oh my God, my name is the worst to pronounce in English.
Yeah.
It's Dubreuil.
Dubreuil.
Dubreuil, yeah.
And how do we do this? How do we do this with
Dubreuil.
Dubreuil. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna need to come back to Montreal a couple of
Yes, I was thinking I could get Pimsleur, yeah.
Or you can just say Marie-France.
No, because I'm gonna have to say your name a lot. So I was already, like, my mom is a librarian, I'm, you know, ready to call Pimsleur on the way home. And then how do you say Duchesne? What is the proper French way?
That's pretty good. Duchesne.
Duchesne, okay. Now, Marie-France, when messaging you, I'm wondering, do you know that Facebook has read receipts so that I can see if you've read my messages? Because you like to keep people waiting on Facebook. And I have a team, I work with lawyers who negotiate constantly. And Marie-France invited me here at Worlds, and then we messaged over the summer, and then I messaged to confirm, and I didn't hear back from her. And I was just dealing with Nikolai, so I was explaining ice dance games to my coworkers. And I said, I need to get a confirmation from her. What do I do? Maybe I'll thank her publicly on Twitter and have like 100 of my friends retweet, you know.
Well, the reality is that I'm not always on my phone.
Yeah.
When I'm very busy during the day, like sometimes I'll read it and then I'll go take care of my daughter or take care of this, and then I forget that I didn't answer. So yes, I'm a little unorganized with my social media. I'm very sorry.
That's okay.
Or sometimes I don't know, you know, right away what I have to answer. I have to check with my boss, Patrice Lauzon.
Patrice is the boss? I thought you're the boss.
He's the boss of schedules.
He's the boss. Talk about this, because I heard that you schedule everything for your skaters. You know, there's a very intense schedule. So if they need to do a doctor's appointment, do they have to call you first?
Yes.
I like this ice dance control. I want this in my life. How do we do this? No. Is it fun to have the power?
Well, you know what? There's a lot less wasted time when everything is scheduled. So we figured out with the number of couples we have right now, and we wanted to make sure that everybody got their 2.5 hours of lessons or whatever. The best way was to make a schedule, and it's becoming just a routine to every night everybody has their schedule. we pre-schedule in the weekend, but yeah. Everything is scheduled.
Yeah.
Every 15 minutes, the kids know what they have to do on the ice.
Now, one question I have is, you've always worn the tan skates, and usually skaters wear tan skates usually when they get older and they don't want to point that toe anymore as hard as they had to before. So, at what age does one get the tan skates and defend this choice?
Well, you know what? If I could have gotten gold skates or pink skates, I would have.
Oh, you would have done the purple like Pasha did? Yeah?
Yeah, probably. No, well, because in my competitive years, I mean, ice dancers were more or less the same height. And Patrice and I, well, he's 6'1" and I'm 5'3"3/4. So we were more like a pair team, you know, size-wise. Nowadays we see more couples that are like this and whatever, but in our days it was not so familiar to see a team that had such a big height difference. And I figured out that with beige skates, I looked taller. It was more, it was more for the overall image.
Well,
but it worked because when people met me off the ice, they were always surprised of how small I was. So I guess on the ice I did look taller with my beige skates.
Well, we've seen you have world champions, European champions. When are you going to have a U.S. national champion, Marie-France? What is it going to take to get Maddie and Zach to the top of the podium? What do they need to do?
Oh, I'm cracking the whip.
Okay.
No, I think, you know, if they can stay healthy and keep training the way they are training now, it's going to be a good competition at U.S. Nationals. I mean, they just have to trust, believe, keep training. And last year they made a good impression and just keep going that way until they get there.
Well, you have a very busy couple of weeks. You told me you have 7 out of the 10 teams at the Autumn Classic.
Yes.
I look forward to seeing all of your work there. Best of luck this season, Marie-France.
Thank you.